on the website as well.
Maybe I'll do that in a future episode and not invite you at all.
Well,
I would never do that.
Let me be very clear. The chat bot is not great.
Hello and welcome to the Rose and Rockstar from Rockstar CMO effing marketing podcast and the Marketing Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ian Truscott. I'm not a rockstar, but I am a CMO and managing partner of Velocity B. It's Saturday the 23rd of August, and in a moment I will join my chum and Chief Troublemaker at Seventh Bear, Robert Rose, in our virtual bar, the Rose and Rockstar, where, over one of his fabulous cocktails, I will pick his brains on a marketing topic that is top of mind for me. This week, we dive into Robert's new book, Valuable Friction, which launches next week. The title might be familiar if you're a regular listener, as it's based on some ideas we discussed in episode 248 back in November. But first, we need to pay the bar tab. I'll be back in a moment.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Are you tired of juggling multiple software tools to manage your agency? Say hello to Deltek Workbook, the ultimate solution for marketing and communication agencies. With Workbook, you can streamline your projects, resources, and finances all in one place. Imagine real-time dashboards and reports giving you full visibility into your projects, people, and financials. Plan your team's capacity weeks in advance to avoid bottlenecks while staying on budget to maximize project margins. Plus, Workbook works perfectly for both agencies and in-house marketing teams looking to boost efficiency and profitability. And here's the best part. At PCI, we're a certified Deltek partner and reseller offering expert implementation, integrations, and ongoing support to ensure your success. Want to see how Deltek Workbook can transform your operations? For a free consultation, visit pci.us/podcast today. That's pci.us/podcast.
When it comes to relevant content, you may have heard Jeff and me talk about the multis on this show. Multi-channel, multi-device, multi-persona, and multi-language. On that last one, let me ask, how confident are you that your content actually connects in every market? You're not sure? Well, it might be time to check out Phrase. In our experience, this stuff used to be hard, but Phrase makes it simple with its industry-leading AI localization platform that helps you deliver content in multiple languages without losing your tone, your message, or your mind. It automates the manual work, slashes review time, and gives you real data on what's working and where. Brands like Uber and Zendesk trust Phrase to scale their content across the globe and get it right every time. If you're serious about reaching more people and driving better results internationally, head over to phrase.com/MPN and take a look. That's phrase.com/MPN.
Hello, my friend. Welcome to the bar.
Thank you, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm busy and crazed at the moment, but really good. Other than that, it's hotter than hell here in Southern California.
Oh, Lord.
But it's it's mid-August, so what are you going to do?
Yeah. We had a heat wave, and now we're having a dry spell. The weather's cooled down, but it's a bit like California here, and the grass is brown. So
yeah,
it's like. Apart from that, that's about the only thing we've got in common, I think. So.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, it is. Yes.
And the other
Indeed.
thing is we're in the bar ridiculously early, 8 o'clock in the morning, as testament to your 8 o'clock in the morning your time is testament to how busy you are. So I thought I'd go public and say thank you very much for meeting me in the bar so early.
More than fine. Well, there's always time for day drinking, is what I
absolutely
would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and speaking of which, we have a nice, cool way to cool off your summer. The cocktail. It's called a Humorosa, and it is a mezcal drink, actually. And so you got to find a nice, sweet, not too smoky mezcal, because mezcal is, very much like Scotch, can get very, very smoky very quickly. So you don't want too smoky here. So, go with a light mezcal if you can find one. And then you're going to go with a ginger liqueur, whatever your favorite ginger liqueur is. And then you're going to add a little grenadine. And I know I'm not big on the artificial sugars thing here, so you can go sugarless if you want to, but grenadine helps to also make it a little sweeter and bring out the sweetness of the mezcal instead of the. So this is the one time that I would probably recommend going with something like a grenadine. And then you want fresh lime juice. And so mix that together. Obviously, shake it all up into a shaker and then strain that into a coupe glass. And away you go. You have a Humo Rosa. Nice. It's a beautiful, wonderful, nice sipping. It's a sipping drink for sure.
Yeah.
On a hot summer day.
And ginger liqueur. I don't think I'm familiar with ginger liqueur. So who makes ginger liqueur? What are the brands for that?
Ginger liqueur brands? Oh, goodness gracious.
Or is it just, so it's not like a famous something or other.
I don't know that there's anybody famous that does it. The one that, Domaine makes a lot of different liqueurs. They make one. There's one by a company. What was their name? There's one called, I think it's called the King's. The King's ginger liqueur.
Right. I'll put you on the spot.
Stirrings makes one. Stirrings they make a lot of different liqueurs. Stirrings makes a ginger liqueur. It's pretty easy to find. It's not an uncommon thing.
All right. Okay. I'm not familiar with it, but I'm familiar with ginger wine, Stone's ginger wine that you put with.
Well, that's kind of what we're talking about here, but it's more like a ginger port if you do anything. Like it's a liqueur, really. It's like yeah.
So that's a Humo Rosa. So we're sipping these Humo Rosas,
yes,
and that was jolly nice. And then I have a question for you. Well, it's not. No. Yes, I guess it is a question. While I have you in the bar, I understand that you've just written a book.
I did. That's part of the reason I'm so crazed at the moment, because I'm preparing for the launch next Tuesday of my book, and I'm super excited about it. It's a small book. It's not a big old geeky textbook. It's just something that I wanted to get out into the world, and it's more of a big question than any answers, right? It's not meant to provide pat solutions. It's not meant to really provide a lot of answers. It more than anything, and it's sort of meta in this capacity. It's meant to have you wrestle with bigger questions in your life. And the book is called Valuable Friction. And the premise is basically, or the hypothesis, if you will, is ostensibly that we are in a time in the world where we are, as a culture, especially in business culture, but culture full stop, obsessed with speed. Everything is built around speed as a foundational value. And again, especially in business, it's move fast, right? So the mantra has been for 20 years since really digital has come in is move fast and break things, fail fast, speed is a feature, ship it before, it's ready, live in alpha, all of these things that get to output, speed, and focus on convenience as a feature has been the founding sort of, value of business in our culture. And I think we can argue that, because I get to a point where, I hear this, and when I talk to clients or when I talk to people, and they say, we just need to move faster. We need to move faster. Yeah. And my question to them is, well, how fast is fast enough? Like, how fast do we need to go? Like, when do we know we're moving fast enough? Mm-hmm. And the answer is usually we don't. When you start peeling it all back, we don't. We just always need to move faster. And I think we have to get to a point where we realize that the cost of moving faster has now outweighed the usefulness to the human condition. Mm-hmm. And it is, we are so focused on convenience and speed now that we have really lost the idea of what it means to value what it is that we do in the experience. And so the book is really about looking at what I call human capacities or human capabilities. And it's really wrapped around 4 ideas: creative friction, which is, basically building in the idea of blank white spaces and rules and those sorts of things to help us add a little more friction to our creative output. Then there's operational friction, which is how do we just operate in life. Then there's strategic friction, which is really how do we make decisions about what do we want to do, whether it's a strategic decision about how we want to move our family or a strategic decision about how we want to move our business. How are we doing that in a more considered, paused way instead of focusing on the immediate gut feel that we have? And then the last is relational friction, is how do we relate to each other? And that's honestly the one that's probably the easiest to see, because we have really gotten to a place in the world where our relationships with each other are now all about speed. We text, we post, we DM each other instead of talking with each other, instead of handwriting a letter to each other, instead of really conversing and taking a long walk and talking. And we've lost nuance in conversation, and we've created loneliness, and we've created all of these things around the focus on speed, which has really impaired our ability to have quality relationships with each other. It's impaired our decision-making process for strategy. It's impaired our ability to make creative, work for us. And it's impaired our ability to operate in the world in a better way, in a more experiential and valuable way. And so the book is really asking us to wrestle with some of those questions across those 4 areas and how we might take a different approach, especially now in the world of AI, because AI, I think, is our universal invitation to slow down, because AI is the first technology in at least 20 years, maybe ever, that has really enabled us to get to things more quickly, whether it's information output or just knowledge. And so maybe we have it all wrong about AI in terms of helping us move even faster. And maybe it's our invitation to ourselves slow down and make better decisions, because we can be moved more quickly with AI when we're ready to make a decision.
Yeah, I love it. And I love that I'd prepared a setup for your book, and it's just, you just perfect conversation on a podcast. You just go. So thank you very much. And but also, like, the second half of the subtitle of the book is "It's Valuable Friction: How to Stand Out in a World Obsessed with Speed." So clearly, the book is not just about making that observation that you just made, that the world, is too, we don't need to move so fast, and you can't value that. It's the fact that there's a benefit to us taking more time out of it, taking more time, in that we can stand out because everybody else is on that hamster wheel. Is that the message from the book?
It's 100% yes. It is. When we talk about standing out in the world, the immediate knee-jerk reaction is to think, oh, you're talking about differentiation of products, or you're talking about competitive advantage in business and, standing out in the marketplace. And yes, that is true. And I do believe that employing valuable friction will help those in the future to differentiate their content, their brand, their working of their business. But I also think that standing out in the world today is a little bit of a survival tactic. It's not just a differentiation. It's about how do we do things that help us live bolder, more enriched lives that stand out, from the crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the examples I use in the book of this is, if you have a family and you have dinner, and you have a device-free dinner, that's one thing, right? But having a device-free dinner and then making sure that you insert the uncomfortable, let's have a conversation with our family instead of all be on our phones and all be, and actually have a home-cooked meal that's not an Amazon meal kit or a microwaved, or a takeout. We actually take the time to cook dinner together, et cetera. It's a more meaningful way to live your life. It's a more, and you remember those things. They're more valuable. They're experiences. And if you take that all the way down, I also use the example of something really silly. But it makes the point of, we never acknowledge the cost of moving faster. We never measure the cost of convenience, because we've become trained to look at it as a feature, as always a feature. And the silly example I use is the skip the intro button.
Yeah.
In 2017, Netflix found that 15% of their audience would fast forward like 30 seconds at the beginning of series. And they took that to mean that people didn't want to watch credits. They didn't want to watch the opening credits anymore and listen to the theme songs. And so they built a feature called Skip the Intro. And so, now, whatever it is, almost 10 years later, we have now skipped the intro, billions of times. People are doing it billions of times. It's still a smaller percentage of people, but it's still a meaningful amount of people skip the intro. And so you ask yourself, you say, well, why then do showrunners and producers and creators, why do they make such lush, beautiful opening sequences with beautiful theme songs and thanking the artists and beautiful, artistry in the video? And why do they do it if nobody cares? And the answer is because they care. They care that they thank the artist. They care that there's a meaningful theme song because they're setting the tone. They're setting an emotional connection with your series. They're setting an emotional, anticipation of what you're about to watch. It's part of the art. And so you think to yourself, okay, well, they care. And so it was interesting. There was a conversation that happened just after they introduced the skip the intro button. It was a podcast on the New York Times, and they talked about actually missing it. And what they went back and found is that, and if you think about this, it's true for all of us that lived before a skip the intro button ever existed, is we have emotional connections to our lives, to theme songs, to opening credits, to, like when I hear the Tonight Show theme, or I hear Bugs Bunny theme, or I hear Star Trek theme, I have an emotional connection, not just to the brand of the show, but I have an emotional connection to that part of my childhood. And that audible emotional connection is value. There is value in having that. And it's a value that's lost now for this current generation that will never really have those emotional connections because they skip the intro. Now, I immediately acknowledge that that's a silly example, but not even acknowledging the cost means that we've basically skipped the part in our brain where we even say, is it worth it? Right? In other words, we just immediately assume that the skip the intro button is an amazing feature that we should have because it helps us get faster. But we never acknowledge, but is it? We never question it. And so take that same metaphor to just about everything that's built for convenience, and you start to ask yourself, are we really better off for all of it? And that's the question I want people to wrestle with.
No, I love it. And I mean, there's some. I mean, it's not just the series from our youth either. I mean, I think maybe if you're sitting and binge watching and you're watching 3 or 4 episodes in a row, then maybe the setup gets in the way a little bit of your binge. And I think more people are binging, aren't they? So I suppose there's a use for it there. But me personally, it's that transition from where your headspace is now into the program, isn't it? It's like, I think both of us like the new Star Trek series, and you want to enjoy that beginning part, the credits and all that kind of good stuff. And then there's a series that I watch on Apple TV called Slow Horses, and it just sets the mood because it's quite a dark thing. It sets the mood. I mean, I never skip the credits. I never skip the intro. I'm always anyway. It's a really good point.
No, I enjoy. So there's most of the series I watch. I don't, and maybe this is just my age because I don't even think to do it because I grew up not doing it. But most of the series that I love and watch, like when I watched Andor, for example, as a series, there were clues in the, it was part of the story, every opening, and especially in the first season. The second season, not as much, but the first season, you would see visuals. You would see also the whatever the theme song was. Like he would do alterations of the theme song based on the what the show was going to be, and you could sort of get hints about what's going to happen, basically in the story from the actual version of the theme song that they used, and that was really fun and interesting to And you would never get that wonderful experience if you skipped it.
No. Well, and I think, not just about that, but I think when the thing I think is when something offers you the option, you feel obliged is the wrong word. You feel you then have to make a choice, right? And you think, and so if you're watching with other people, for example, and the skip the intro comes up, you're then trying to think, well, does my wife want the intro skipped? If it wasn't there, you wouldn't have that, that tension. And I think
that's precisely it.
Yeah.
That's precisely it. We have been trained to see these things as always good, right? That we're supposed to enjoy these things. We're supposed to take advantage of them, right? And so, and when they don't, and even to the point where we now anticipate them, where we've been trained, where we look at a new product or a new anything, and we start having the expectation that if it isn't as convenient as it possibly can be, we get mad. We actually, this happens all the time in legacy services, like, your ticketing on your airline, or, how you get on planes, or how you drive in cars, or, if we see that there's some major, convenience, quote unquote, easy button missing, we think that they're idiots, right? We think that they're stupid and that they haven't thought this through, when in fact they may or may not have. And the question is, do you want to remove that little bit of friction to get to the convenience, or is it there for a purpose? And there are great examples of this in user experience design, right? So, constantly asking, as you go through, you're going with a wire transfer, or you're going to move something from one hard drive to another, and the amount of times that you have to say, "Are you sure?" Right? I'll give you another one from streaming media, which is a perfect one, which is the number of times that I have to click OK before I buy an on-demand movie. Right? In other words, I have to say, yes, I want to buy the on-demand movie. And then it goes, are you sure? Because this is how much it's going to cost. Then I have to click OK again. And then it says one more time, okay, this is going to be, this is going to be this cost, and you're going to have access to it for this long. Is that okay? And you say yes. And so it would be much easier just to literally click the OK button once and have it automatically charge your credit card. But that friction allows you to have the discernment to say, do I really want this movie, or do I really not want this movie? And I think it's a wise choice on their part, because what they're doing is they're basically saying, you better be sure that you want this, because we're about to charge you like $12. And so that's the difference. It's we're not necessarily better off with the more convenience.
And I can see it from their point of view, which is like, it probably stops a lot of customer service complaints, and because it's like, we asked you 5 fucking times.
Right. That's exactly it, right? That's exactly it.
Because wanted this.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly what it is, right? Because and they want to save money on the money givebacks that I accidentally clicked OK and I didn't mean to. It's like, they've clearly done the research to find out that that's a problem. And so the way to solve that problem is how do you do that? Well, you insert a little friction into it so that and it's less convenient, but it's better.
Oh yeah. I had a conversation today with a pension provider, and trying to get my online account activated, and they'd sent me a letter, and it was the stupidest customer service thing all the way through. But then reflecting on what you're saying, it might be that it was ridiculous on purpose, because that was a whole security thing going on, right? Which is, well, he seems pretty persistent. He must be the guy, or something like that. There's probably a reason. There's probably a level of ineptitude, but there's probably for good reason they don't change these arcane systems, because they work. Right?
I mean, and the book does actually address sort of the idea that okay, you can, there's a curve. I call it the friction balance curve, and there's a whole chapter on it, which basically says, there is a sweet middle spot, right? There is, there's excessive ease on one end of the curve, which is like, when things are too easy, like we've been talking about. But there's also, yes, of course, when there's too much, it's what we call excessive friction, right? Whereas, yes, things can be bureaucratic, et cetera, all those things.
We're coming up to time. It's launching on Tuesday the 20th. It's not pre-order, but you've kind of soft launched it, haven't you?
I've soft launched it, yes. And so by the time your listeners do this, they will be able to
nice.
They'll be able to order the book. I should say when you order the book, you not only get the hardcover of the book, you also get the EPUB version of it as well. The ebook is, so if you prefer to read on, and I'm not selling the ebook separately. It's just comes when you buy direct. If you buy through Amazon, you can buy the ebook. separately. But if you buy the,
it's not on Amazon yet, is it? Yeah, I saw, and I think that's also another interesting topic that maybe we should chat about, is that experience that you've got in that you're selling the book directly yourself, and for reasons that I know that you and your co-host on This Old Marketing, Joe Palizzi, have discussed a number of advantages for doing that. So it'd be interesting to see what your experience is, maybe when we're in the bar another time. And this is your 5th book, I think, or is it 6th book?
Yep. This would be my 5th book. This would be my 5th.
I own all of them so far, so I look forward to getting this one. But I think it sounds like it's something a little bit different to what you've written about before, isn't it? Usually you're writing about marketing, content marketing, and this sounds a bit different. I'm looking forward to digging into that. So
yeah, it's a fast read. It's 130 pages, so it's something that you literally can read in a couple of settings. It's not meant to. This is meant to have you wrestle with some questions. It's not meant to provide a lot of answers, although there are some suggestions. There are some gentle suggestions about some applications. And then there's some bonus materials that I'm making available on the website, and I even built a little AI chatbot you can chat with the book. So
nice.
on the website as well.
Maybe I'll do that in a future episode and not invite you at all.
Well,
I would never do that.
Let me be very clear. The chatbot is not very good. It is absolutely an experiment. Yeah.
Well, mate, I think there's an irony there in that you've written a fast book on that's called Valuable Friction: How to Stand Out in the World Obsessed with Speed. So we could all read it fast because we're feeling fast, and then we can slow down.
Yes, it's you can read it fast or slow. I want you to make the choice.
So if people are interested in a fast book, where are they going to find it, mate?
They'll find it actually at my personal website, which is robertrose.net.
Splendid. And when people spin the dial on the interwebs and they're looking for you, where are they going to find you?
They will find me on LinkedIn. And I should also mention, by the way, you can go to valuablefriction.com if you want to go right to the book.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Fantastic. I'll include, obviously, links to those in the show notes. And most importantly for me, when you're finished with this book tour, will you be in the bar next week?
I will indeed, yes.
I look forward to it, mate. I'll see you there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. As we mentioned there, right now, I think the book is only available on Robert's website. I've placed my order and it's on its way, and maybe we'll revisit this topic once I've read it. So that's a wrap on our visit to the Rose and Rockstar. Thank you for putting a dime into your podcasting jukebox, selecting our track and jiving along with us. And of course, you can find the links to Robert and his book in the show notes on rockstarcmo.com, where you can also find links to our newsletter, blog, previous episodes, and all the things. Coming up this week, Jeff is back on Wednesday, and as you heard, Robert will be back in our bar on Saturday. In the meantime, as we're on the topic of books this week, as Benjamin Franklin said, either write things worth reading or do things worth the writing.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Hennika Watkins-Porter hosts The Entrepreneurial You, empowering entrepreneurs with insights on leadership, business, and success. Hennika, tell listeners what to expect from your show.
So we provide innovative business strategies and practical solutions to common entrepreneurial challenges.
And where can people subscribe?
Find us at hennikawatkinsporter.com, as well as the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net, or search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.